Now, what do I know about the PMs? Quite a bit, actually. During the time in the early 60s, New Zealand had, or prior to that, New Zealand had been using the Janet and John series. I won't go into big, but they were, these books used the imperative text tense, such as "Come, John, come and look, see the boats." How riveting is that? Eh? Wouldn't it be exciting to go home and tell Mum, "Today we read this book that said, 'Come, John, John, look, 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 John, look.'" Then, two ladies, a school inspector and an education board member in what was the New Zealand Department of Education, felt this material was not suitable for New Zealand children, and books needed, greater story content and stories that reflected New Zealand's way of life. That's how the New Zealand books. So they started with 12 books, and they had a red one, which was called Early in the Morning, Red 2, which was Grandma Comes to Stay, Red 3, The Fire Engine, Yellow 1, Where is Timothy, and so on like that. And then went on to a green level, a country school. Then there were 6 miscellanies for the higher levels. The Hungry Lambs. We do have things other than lambs. The Hungry Lambs, Boat Day, and what have you. I'll let you read through the other. The vocab was fairly well controlled there, but it was a 1-to-10 ratio. The language structures were more the structures of everyday spoken language rather than the "come, John, come" thing, right, such as "I am going," as you see up in there. And there had to be a story structure as well. Now, story structure is really important. I'll just give you a clue with story structure. Sam ate her ice cream is not a story, but Bingo ate Sam's ice cream is a story. Got it? Okay, on to the next one, Brendan. Right, what happened was these women, the team that developed those Red 1, 2 and 3 books, etc., that specific vocabulary was given out to publishing companies to write what they call supplementaries. Beverly Randall, the lovely Beverly Randall, who at that time her husband Hugh Price, P as in Price, and Hugh's best friend from university, Jim Milburn. Jim and Hugh had developed a small publishing company. Beverly was the teacher. So Beverly wrote the stories, the little supplementary stories that went with Red 1, Red 2, Red 3, and so other people were putting them out, but they made the big mark. This is where you get the PM from. The Americans think PM stands for packed with meaning, and we say, yes, that's okay. Don't worry about Hugh and Jim. Anyway, right, so that material was exported all throughout the world. So that was used in New Zealand. Of course, throughout the 60s and 70s, and in Oz, you people had it as well. You had all our PMs and or whatever all through those years. Right, next one, Brendan. Then, in the early 80s, there was a new thing coming into vogue. You know, teachers, you know what happens? We get this, and it goes in, and it goes out, and it's all over the place. I can see that my friend over here having a good nod. Yeah, it's because we've been around the traps a while. Anyway, so anyway, 82. No, we were being told in New Zealand, the Ready to Read series, which was out at the time, they said, you're not to use that. You're not to use those PMs. Get rid of those. You all have to do shared reading. And they were doing it, and they were trying to get these little 5 and 6-year-olds to read from this. It was a Don Holdaway thing. It was really hot to trot. So anyway, but what happened was, as I say, they lacked the grading controls. When the layout, everything was just awful. So anyway, Brendan, turn on the next one, please. In my role in 85, I went in as the assistant principal at Pukete School, and I thought, right, I'm going to spend the rest of my teaching career with the first 3 years at school. That, to me, was the most important years, to get it right. So here I was in this new position, but I was getting more and more concerned. I'll tell you one thing, though, the very wise AP whom I'd taken over the position from, she had a store of PMs and she'd stacked them up in some cupboards. And I thought, right, this is it, and just sifted them into boxes. But then, over a period of 2 or 3 years, the resources that I had inherited were getting fewer and fewer. And I'm thinking, what are we going to do? We haven't got those PMs. We've got to get them back again. I made muttering noises to several other APs in the Hamilton district, and they all agreed with me. And then I talked to Jenny Giles and to Gail Robertson, who were in our junior department. They nodded, yeah, we'll do something about it, Annette. And in my office, I had a notice up, and on the notice it said, believe in what you do and do what you believe in. All right? So I looked at that and I thought, right, girl, get on with it. So I thought, right, I'm going to write this letter. So, as Cherise said, it was a very persuasive letter. I used all those persuasive terms to a bloke, I write into a bloke, persuasive. But I laid out very carefully what books I felt PMs should be kept from the originals, which ones reinvented, re-illustrated, blah, blah, blah. But I made it very persuasive. You've got to get it right, girls, when you're persuading somebody. Right, so anyway, it must have hit the mark, because I was contacted to head for Auckland and to meet up with Beverly Randall. Right, so here we were. It was a fear and trembling, actually. This woman called Beverly Randall, who had her name on all these books. Anyway, and I said to Jenny, Jenny came as well. She was a hard case. Came as well. Gail came too. Anyway, we're sitting there at this table. It was a rep, one of the, what was Thompson Learning those days, their rep at her place, and we're sitting there having lunch, and I'm sitting beside this famous lady, and anyway, we're going through some of these different things that we'd have these books and we'd redo those ones. Then I said to this famous lady, I think these books really need some teacher resources to go with them. She said, well, you can do it. I'm going, oh gosh, do I really? So that was my first start in writing teacher guides. But one of the things I did with the teacher guides, I thought one thing that I really want is, I was thinking of my beginning teachers. What do I want my beginning teachers to be able to do a quality lesson? And I said, I want them to be able to hold the book, hold that teacher's guide, just have it there in front of them. I want them the whole lesson to be organised for them. And they got the group of kiddies in front of them. Right, now I want in that how to create the atmosphere, how to start, whatever. And then I also put in them things like poems and stories that they could read that related to it, all those things. I put in it things, language monitoring checks, and there'd be one on each page, and there'd be one to do with oral literacy and what have you, all closely related to that particular story. So with things like that, everything was focused on my beginning teachers and making sure they did a quality lesson. I didn't care whether they scribbled on the book or not. I'd buy them another one. But I wanted quality lessons from those teachers of mine so that those kiddies could go home with more knowledge. Every day they need to learn something new. One of the things that I said that I wanted, this was in this letter that I wrote, that I wanted, these are the things that they needed to have. We also developed a special little logo for each character, had their own special little cover design. And as I say, the title pages were the colour of whatever the book was. The daisy logo on the back was related to Sally and the daisy, so a colour petal. I'll tell you a little bit more about the levels 1 and 2. I better tell you that now. After we got underway and had the red, all the supplementaries for red, yellow, blue and green, I said to Beverly, look, I feel very concerned. I said, we need some books before Red 1, which is currently level 3. I said, we need something before that. And years ago, Beverly had developed what was called the PM Instant. I said, they had photographs. Let's do ones with photographs. So we launched into PM, the starters. The PM starters, we did 40. We did 20 of level 1 and 20 of level 2. They had to have a logo, of course. So that's where Beverly, in her wisdom, very wise lady, she says, look, the colour just softer than red is magenta. So we actually established magenta. So she said, we'll have the slightly open daisy, it'll be pink for level 2, and level 1, it's still a bud. So we had the bud for level 1. This is brilliant, I have you know. Level 1 was a bud, level 2 was pink, slightly open. So these were the repetitive texts. And you know what? Levels 1 and 2, the purpose of those. Concepts about print, the 30 high-frequency words that are required for levels 3 to 5, and the sentence structures that are the sentence structures of a 3 and a 4-year-old in preparation for the levels 3, 4 and 5. Building the sentence structures, really important. So we established those. Right, now the PM philosophy. as you gather, reading for meaning is absolutely paramount for us, and unless children read with meaning, they are merely saying words. If young readers are to discover that reading is stimulating, rewarding and a meaningful experience, then they should be using books that are stimulating, rewarding and meaningful.